it has finally come to a bubble, and I'm seeing a pretty steady stream of steam out of here now. So I am going to hit my timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to let this steam right where it's at for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come and put the weight on. And we'll see where I need to keep my stove to be able to maintain the proper pressure. Now, I did have to look up the Kelvin to PSI conversion, and 10 PSI is 68 point something Kelvin. So like right in here, the 70, 75 mark is right in here on my canner. So there's that. Okay, so I think I might have made a mistake in looking for the steam coming out of here at a steady stream. It actually now started coming, so I did start timing it again, 10 minutes when it started coming out of here. Now I'm going to take my weight and pop that down on there, and my pressure should now start building. And once it gets up to pressure, there you go. So now this should start coming up, and I need to get it to be about here to reach pressure, and then I would start my timer. So I'm just going to kind of hang out and keep an eye on this and see what happens. Apparently, when it reaches the right PSI, it starts spitting and sputtering and releasing steam as it needs to maintain a certain level of PSI. So I'm not sure, my gauge might be a little off, but I think that my weight is probably bang on with the way it's rocking and rolling. I will do a little bit more research before I actually can in this, but I think that once it starts sputtering and spinning like that, I can assume that my heat is adjusted properly on my canner and that it is ready for me to start my timer. So I'm just going to time it for a quick 10 minutes again, because that's what I've got set. This is not a canner's kitchen, I tell you what. Look at how close that vent is to the top of my canner. I'll keep an eye on this. I don't want that pressure going any higher. I gotta turn the fan back on. It's been running, it's been holding its pressure, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off now. And we'll see how long it takes for it to like slow down. Because I certainly can't move it off of my burner. So I can't actually remove it from the heat. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to move it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Everything seemed to work, and it kept its pressure just fine. And so I think I'm actually ready to start canning. Freaks me out a little bit still, but I did finally get a hold of the seller, and I'm assuming they got their information from the manufacturer, but they did finally give me the amount of water to go in there for pressure canning. All of the instructions in here are for water bath canning, and it didn't say anything about the pressure canning part. But now I know. Approximately 3 inches of water, and so that also tells me what the tray with the feet is for. So the tray needs to go in the bottom regardless whenever you're canning. But if you're canning like smaller jars, like the little quarter pints or the wide mouth half pints, they're not much more than 3 inches. And when you're pressure canning, you don't want your water anywhere near your rings or your lids. So that little platform will allow me to pressure can my half pints, without them having to be sitting in the water. They can be up above the water and the pressure can build around them. And so that is what that is for. So I'm kind of excited and a lot nervous, but I'm going to do some canning today. My first canning is going to be some chicken. I'm going to go ahead and can some chicken and we'll see how that goes. I'll share that with you guys later. Thanks for being with me on this journey. Thanks to everybody who answered my questions and expressed concerns. I know that my friend Lee over at Lazarick Homestead was worried about it saying just that it's a pressure cooker, but I guess the biggest difference is whether or not it has this pressure gauge and then your weight. And a pressure cooker would not have that. And then, so the fact that this is just called a pressure cooker, that's just a European way of doing it. It's made in Germany. They're trying to put it into English, translated from German, and so it doesn't always translate properly. I was also able to look up the KPI, I think it is, kilopascals per inch, which compares to your PSI, and so I got that figured out. I know now what my weight needs to be. Oh my goodness. So I know you people who have been canning for a long, long time and have learned it from many other people kind of probably think that I'm a little bit silly, but nobody in my life ever canned. My mom didn't can, my stepmom didn't can. I don't remember her doing any canning. Um, And then I was out. I mean, I moved out of the house when I was 16 years old, and none of my friends were into canning at that time. We were into other things that were less good for you. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, so it is a new adventure for me, and it is kind of exciting. You can hear Tabby down there going a little bit crazy because I'm talking to you and not to her. You know how she is. I got her some of those talking buttons I'm trying to teach her how to use, so we'll see if that ever works out. Anyway, squirrel! Uh, I'm gonna get to my canning, so thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. And like I said, thanks to everybody who commented on my last video to let me know what I was doing. Oh, and one thing that somebody told me, I think it was Beam Me Up, Mr. Scott. Um, he told me that I could, once I get to, remember how it was spittering and sputtering there so much? Well, it shouldn't be spittering and sputtering quite so much. It should just be poofing out some air every once in a while. And so that tells me that I could probably turn my dial down a little bit and not need to keep it at that sputtering, spitting, spinning cycle. I can actually tone it down a little bit so it's just poofing out little bits of air. I'll be very careful. Be very careful every time I do any canning, but I'll be especially careful this first time. And I'll probably leave it more spitting and sputtering than I will let it go down to being no spittering and sputtering because, oh, there she comes again. Uh, just because I haven't tried it empty like that, and I don't want it to go down so that my pressure lowers. You know how all that goes. Anyway, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Take very good care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye now.